Hello, Oracles. Well, what does Tesla stock need to break this downward trend? We've been moving down. Mostly the macro environment is pulling us down, but we do have a lot of Tesla specific things, mostly sentiment wise, that are holding the stock down as well. A good portion of that, of course, is Elon, the Twitter thing, everything that's going on over there. When it comes to the actual fundamentals of the company, the only thing that really is in question is that China demand. We do see that pulling down a little bit, but we did get some great China numbers coming out recently due to the price cuts that they had. So we're going to dive into some of the things today just to discuss what things could turn around for Tesla that could bring the stock price back up again. So jumping into the charts, we've got here, we're right riding this line right here on this downward trend, right on the edge of it, just trying to see if we're going to stay above it or if we're going to fall back into it. We're just riding that line right down. We've got an RSI of 33.75 right now. Volume coming in today was relatively low, especially considering how high we were over the last week. So again, down 2% on the day, really just kind of following the macro, nothing major here pulling us down when it comes to Tesla specific news. But again, when we were talking about that dead cat bounce, we saw it here, it came down, and now we're seeing it looks like we're starting to follow this next dead cat bounce down again. Again, we're still in this kind of consolidation phase. So there is a chance that maybe we don't fall further and we end up just kind of trading sideways. Just something I'm monitoring on a day-to-day basis, but now coming down 3 days in a row is leading me to believe we may end up coming down further going into the end of the week and then into the holiday week next week. And Gary Black over on Twitter mentioning that Tesla has not looked this cheap since March of 2020 at COVID's peak. This is when the markets crashed. So it's selling at 32 times 2023. 2023 EPS is up 45% year to date, but down 9% since Tesla posted weaker than expected Q3 volumes. So the price and the value have become disconnected. And this is something we talk about all the time on here when it comes down to the stock itself, the price based upon what the fundamentals are and where the company is growing to is massively disconnected. There is a significant value going on right now when it comes to the stock price. This is why I'm always saying this is a great sale. Can it come down further? Of course it can. We just showed the chart showing that we could potentially be in another dead cat bounce. But looking at the fact that we are at such a discount right now is enormous. And Gary does follow it up saying, to go higher, Tesla needs to show strong Q4 China volumes without a second price cut. So China sales weekly were 13,000. That was very solid. So again, if we can continue that trend without having to do a second price cut, that would be big. Next would be showing the stabilization of Twitter ad revenues to reduce risk on Elon having to sell more shares. This is also something that we had discussed about the fact that this Twitter overhang or the hangover that we're basically in right now is going to lift as soon as Twitter can show that they are financially stable. This would confirm that Elon does not have to sell any more shares. We've already got the confirmation from Elon that soon he is going to be stepping away from such a deep dive role into Twitter as it is, so that this way he'll be able to focus his efforts elsewhere on SpaceX and Tesla again. So he'll come out of Twitter, he'll have management in place. That's going to be the first step. The financials, of course, are the next step because no big money is really going to want to invest in Tesla if there is the concern that Elon's going to have to sell more shares. He has not come out at any time recently to confirm that he is done selling. He has told us why he sold, but he doesn't say anything about needing to sell more, if he's going to sell more, if he's done selling. It's kind of open-ended right now, and that question lingering is keeping a lot of big money out. And then the last thing to have the stock go higher is going to be Tesla announcing a $10 billion buyback to show management conviction that Tesla is cheap. And that, of course, is going to be coming most likely soon, is my guess, either an announcement or just something talking about it. Maybe it's going to be next year. We don't know, but they already had talked about it on the Q3 earnings call that doing a $5 to $10 billion buyback next year, even if we do get into rough financial times, is a possibility. So, of course, that did leave the door open to say, what happens if we don't get into a deeper recession next year? What happens if inflation comes down sooner and the Fed does not have to raise rates as high as they think they do? Maybe they'll have even more money to do a bigger buyback next year. A lot of questions still up there, but it seems like at least a $5 to $10 billion buyback is going to be happening. And one of the things we always look at is this is a lot of near-term noise that is going on at the moment. Look long term. Elon's vision is significantly longer than 2, 3, 5, years. It's way longer than all of that. So we need to really focus on the long term. This is why when we look out long term at things like Sawyer Merritt tweeted here, with the United States aims to only sell and produce zero emissions medium and heavy duty vehicles like school buses and tractor trailers by 2040, knowing that we have the semi release coming out on December 1st. We have a big event going on out in Nevada to release this, and Tesla is looking to be producing 100 of them by the end of this year. This is a huge start going into that 2040 timeframe. Looking out long term, if Elon is saying that we're going to be producing 50,000 semis in 2024, how many do you think we're going to be producing in 2040? Who do you think is going to be able to catch up to Tesla if Tesla is already at that point in 2024? So, again, looking long term, and I'm talking minimum 10 years long term, what do you think the stock is going to be doing at that time? And do you think the stuff that we're looking at right now, with all the noise going on and the stock price, is going to be a good return on your investment? Personally, I do think it is. And with that semi truck event coming up, we've got Elon coming out here saying that the Cybertruck is something special that comes along once in a long while. And Sawyer responding with final design unveil at semi event. I don't know if they're going to go that route to unveil it at the semi event. They're probably going to focus on the semi there alone. But I have no doubt that shortly after the semi comes out, they're kind of going to give it that limelight. Here's the semi. Let's enjoy the limelight for that. Then we're going to be able to open up the door, because after the semi is released, next in line is going to be the Cybertruck. So I think we're going to get through December 1st. We're going to have the semi come out, kind of get through that excitement, and then we're going to start seeing what's going on for the Cybertruck. Maybe it's going to be one of those Christmas specials where we're going to get the unveiling right around Christmas time. And so again, we've got some very exciting things going on. And again, when it comes to the stock price, yes, it's down another 2% today, following the macro. Looks like we're on a downward trend. Don't know when we're going to break this. Just so much negativity in the air all over the place. Again, it's not just Tesla, it's the entire macro environment. We've got stuff coming out today with a whole Hunter Biden investigation going on. Now that the Republicans have control of the House, there's going to be a lot of turmoil going on there. So there's just going to be a lot of noise in the news. Maybe, of course, some of this is going to take some of the pressure off of Elon and Twitter, and they're going to put it back on the politics. That might actually be a good thing. But there's just so much going on out there right now. This is why these are the times. You got to look at the past. Look at the past, and every time you have looked at the stock charts saying, ooh, those were the best times to buy. What were the lows of the stock price in the market during those times, and what was going on? If you look back, what was going on during the most recent lows? We had the COVID crash going on. Did we get through that? Yeah, and then we skyrocketed right afterwards. When was the low before that? That was during production hell, when Elon was sleeping on the floor of the factory. During those times where Elon said he could be taking the company private. 2019, we had that big dip. Those times there, a lot of noise and FUD. Did we get through those times? We certainly did. So you've got to think about those times we were down low. Those times that we were down low in the stock price were right before a giant parabolic jump move in the stock price. And if you look back and say, man, I wish I bought more during that time was when there was the most FUD going on. We are in one of those times right now. Can't time the bottom. Nobody's going to know exactly where the bottom is going to be. But if you look back at those times and you bought during any of that time frame, you would have done well. You wouldn't have had to buy at the bottom. Just buy sometime during that year and you would have been doing extremely well. COVID crash. If you bought within that 3 to 4 or 5 month period, anytime right before the split, heck, even after the split would have been fine. We got a dip after that, and then we ended up getting the S&P run up. So looking at the dips that we have seen in the market, looking at the dips we have seen in the stock price, the mass FUD times were the times you would have wanted to buy. We are in one of those mass FUD times right now. And now, of course, this is not financial advice. Anything can happen in the future, but looking at history, this is what's shown us these are the times that you would have wanted to buy. Now, looking at other things that are not going to be financial advice, where can you put your money during these times right now where you can actually get some decent returns? We've got Tesla stock is coming down. Nobody really wants to be in equities right now as it is. You can go buy some bonds. Well, my dad had let me know that TD Ameritrade has a nice CD return at the moment. For a 1-month CD, you can get 3.85% in a return. For that 1 month, that means you're going to get about 0.32% of your money back. There is also a 3 month one going on right now as well for about 4%. So about 0.33% per month in that one. So again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not getting paid for anybody to do this. I'm just trying to give you guys some information that I have because I'm going to be putting a good chunk of my savings into that. Right now, it's just in savings in a bank, and I'm getting basically nothing on it. So if I could put my money into this and get even more money back in return, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have no plans for that money right now anyway. I want to buy a house, but the housing market is still way too hot. I'm waiting for some better deals to go on, and I think it's going to probably take about 6 months before we get to that point. So, over the next 6 months, I could keep rolling my money into these CDs and get some decent returns on that investment. So that's the plan I'm going to go forth with. Again, you guys take a look at any CDs you've got in the area, any, through your brokerage that you've got right now. Take a look at what could give you some relatively decent returns considering the market right now is giving nobody any returns. It's mostly negative right now. Now, I'm not going to be selling any of my stock to do this. I'm just taking the cash that I currently have in savings and moving it over. Still holding all of my positions, and I'm still adding as I always do when it comes to Tesla. I do my $25 every single day. And if we dip any further from here, I will be adding even more. And now another thing about keeping your money safe as well is crypto. Obviously, with all the news going on with FTX right now, lots of places going bankrupt. BlockFi looks like it's going to be going bankrupt as well. That's where I have a little bit of my crypto. I'm trying to get that out if they actually let me. But what I'm going to do, and the safest place to have your crypto, if you do have any invested in crypto, is going to be in cold storage. Keeping it in an exchange is dangerous right now. We can see that. There's kind of a house of cards that's collapsing at the moment. It's not crypto itself that is bad. Crypto is going to be perfectly fine coming through this. It's the exchanges and the people who built this house of cards that are currently collapsing. That's the dangerous part. So just keep your eye out for those right now. But if you do have crypto, should be fine when we come out on the other side of this. But if you do believe in it and you have crypto, the safest place to have it is going to be in cold storage. And when I say cold storage, that just means having it in a wallet that is not actually in an exchange. That's truly it. That is the best and safest place to have it because the only key that is the safest is the key that you have. Whoever has the keys to your wallet has access to your money. And so when it comes to the overall market as well, looking at interest rates, what could potentially be going on going forward, of course, we did see some great numbers with CPI and PPI bringing inflation down. We are moving in the right direction, still trending for 5 months in a row coming down. But now we've got Fed Bullard coming out, and he is the most hawkish Fed, saying that raising the interest rates to 5 to 7% is going to be needed. Now, again, he is the most hawkish Fed that we have out there. When Jerome Powell was speaking at the last FOMC meeting, he did give us inclinations that the Fed may have to go higher with rates than they thought before. Their original goal was going to be 4.6% by the end of this year. They may have to go higher than that, according to Jerome Powell, and now, of course, according to Bullard as well. So my thoughts on this are, a lot of old school thinking is in order to get inflation down, you need to have interest rates higher than inflation to be able to push that down. Right now, we are seeing inflation coming down relatively quickly based upon the last numbers. If we get another reading like this going into December, that could lead us to a more dovish Fed going forward. Right now, the interest rates are right around 4%. So if we end up going with a 50 basis point hike in December, that puts us at that 4.5%, which is right near that 4.6% that the Fed wanted to be at originally. So that could be what we go with. But if we're at that 4.5%, and let's say interest rates end up coming down to 7.5 or 7.4% for the December reading, now we're pushing a bit higher. We're still coming down relatively quickly. When are we going to find that balancing point where the Fed can say, all right, well, our tightening that we've been doing is working. If we end up going too high too fast, we might end up push it too far. So again, these are decisions. We're kind of getting to that nice balancing tipping point. This is a good place to be at. We're now making that decision of, do we need to pause or go a little more dovish? So again, just following this month to month reading, but I think it's going to be probably 3 to 4 more months before we get that indication that, all right, interest rates are now higher than we have inflation. We can start coming down on interest rates or at least pause. So I think we have probably 3 to 4 more months before we get to that point where the Fed can make that decision, but we are still trending in that direction. Now we've got Bullard coming out being hawkish, thinking they're going to have to push higher rather than just pausing. And that in itself is going to cause the market to pull back a little bit more just in anticipation of potentially higher interest rates. So again, overall, down 2% on the day. This is just kind of the norm how we've been feeling. Most of us really just want this to be over with and have us turn around, but unfortunately, this is where we're at. And we've got Tesla Sargent here saying, how long do bear markets last? The average length of a bear market is 388 days. If you exclude the longest and the shortest, it's 330 days. And then I asked how long the longest one was. And according to Seeking Alpha, it is 630 days. That was back in the early 70s. So who knows where we're going to go with this one? Don't know if we're going to break the record on it, but we are in a long bear market. It could go on for another 6 months right now, just based upon the information that we're seeing when it comes to interest rates in the Fed. So just gotta be patient. Patience is always going to be the most important thing, because guess what? We got through the one in 1973-74. We got through the one in 1980 and 1982. Both of those lasted 622 days and 630 days. Almost 2 years. So if we were able to get through those and the stock market still continued to go up afterwards, guess what? When we get through this one, the stock market is still going to go up afterwards. And I can guarantee you that during those times, there was a lot of pain going on in the market and a lot of FUD. And if any of you on here were around during those times and investing, please share your experiences with us, because that would help a lot of us on here who are newer to the market kind of understand what it was like during those times to compare it to these times right now, to give us that sense of relief to say, we are going to get through this. We are going to be fine on the other side. We just need to be patient. So you guys can let us know in the comments below, how long do you think this is going to last? What do you think we are going to see from Tesla that is actually going to turn the stock around? Do you think the stock is actually going to turn around before the stock market itself turns around? Or do you think it's all going to happen together at the same time? So now I wanted to apologize. This morning I did not have a video out. I've been exhausted, got a nasty headache, kind of getting burned out a little bit from all the work that I've been doing. And there really wasn't anything hot in the news, so I wasn't going to come out here and just throw some fluff at you guys just to get a video out. If there's nothing good in the news, I'm not going to waste your guys' time just by spitting some things out here for a video. So I am working on some big things for the channel, and I want to thank you guys so much, because without you and your support, I would not have this opportunity to do this. I have been working with a brand builder, trying to get the channel and everything on a stronger foundation built up. Going to have a website all put together, a lot more professional stuff coming in. And it's, again, because of you guys and all the support you have given me, I've been able to dedicate more time and resources towards all of this, so that in the future, I can do even more of this for you guys and not have to work at my full-time job as much as I am. So again, thank you guys all so much for being able to give me this opportunity to be able to provide better content for all of you as well. And I do have a vacation that is coming up the week after Thanksgiving, so I have a lot of stuff that's going to be going on that week, doing a lot of underneath work when it comes to the channel. Going to be putting out some good videos all that week long. If there's anything you guys want to see, I'm going to work on some live streams also. I'm going to be working on the next ladies night. We do have the health and wealth video that's going to be coming up that I've been trying to coordinate with Dr. Jack, my friend Pedro. We're going to have Nick Gibbs on here. We're going to have Vinny on here also. So we're going to have a lot of great stuff coming up. I've got a lot of stuff working on over the next couple of weeks, so I really look forward to sharing all of that with you guys. Otherwise, thank you all so much. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program and a Patreon. Those links are also in the description. And that is another big piece I'm going to be working on as well. As the channel gets moving forward, I'm going to be able to dedicate a lot more time to you guys as members and patrons to put out some content just specifically for you guys as well. So as I build this channel up and I get everything built on the underneath, I will have more time freed up to be able to dedicate to you guys to thank you even more for your support. Thank you all so much. Have a great one.